together as friends, playing other games. It gives us ideas. Um, when it comes to the sort of creative and art side of it, though, I use a lot of things for inspiration. Websites such as Pinterest, or I look at Sketchfab, things like that. Great resources out there. Um, yeah, just sort of we all come together and we do sketches together, or we make mini designs of the map, and we kind of just bounce off each other ideas. Um, this usually takes days and days of just bouncing ideas off each other until we've got a solid idea of what we want to go for, really. And also we reach out to our community a lot. They tell us a lot about maps that they want to see one day from us, and they give us great ideas and inspiration. Especially our Discord community, it's the things that they tell us are great in terms of ideas. And that's usually one of the main inspirations that we use is the Three of a Kind community. They're just really great at helping us move forward with things.
Woot! Love it. Yeah. All right, Peanut, what's your process?
Alright, I'm an ideas person. I have too many ideas. It's it's a killer thing to have. I love being creative. But yeah, for our teams, usually we have what we call a blue sky phase. And we throw up everything that comes to our mind, everything that could possibly work. There's nothing to criticize, nothing is a bad idea in this stage. So we like to do this by spawning in like 5 whiteboards, writing whatever we want on it. We like to pull out our maker pen. We like to draw little shapes and create little like layers of elevation to explain like our ideas. And it's just super fun. And then on top of that, I also heavily rely on like Pinterest mood boards to get like ideas for what I want to do. And I really, really do ask everyone, like, you should really get into Pinterest and look
It's
at
the best thing.
references. Oh yeah, art in references. Oh my
Great.
goodness.
It's great.
That's yeah. Do not be that creator that it's like, oh, I don't want to look at any references. I want everything I do to be original. What you're making is original. Having references to add on to your ideas, like a sundae, is only gonna make it so much better. So yeah, that's my advice.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Pinterest is my place. Great. Ingles.
All right, so like Peanut, I'm a very strong idea person. I have so many ideas floating around my head, and a lot of this, surprisingly, comes through, or not surprisingly, comes through music. Sometimes I'll be listening to a song or something else that like some of my favorite artists or even some of my friends would make, and then I get ideas in my head for like sort of themes or like things that could go along with it, and like start brainstorming a lot through that. That's one part of it, and the other part is just a lot of like messing around and having fun with it. A lot of my recent projects and recent little things that I've been working on has just been me like messing around with things. Like the new throw handle component that came out, I came up with a really cool concept for a cool game that I might do. That was just me messing around like after the update came out, and I think ideas that come naturally through just toying with concepts and stuff like that is a really fun and like it's a very rejuvenating way to create instead of like forcing yourself to like write down ideas or stuff like that. It's very like free form. It's very cool, and I enjoy making things like that.
Woo! Love it. Great. Aces.
I usually like starting to build something off like movies or like video games, and like half the time I go off like IRL references to kind of like make sure I have an understanding of how things look like in real life, and not just off a reference that someone's made previously, because that kind of like goes down.
I'm a content creator.
Worse. So you just IRL references are like my main point. And half the time I kind of like have a reference, just like I store them up, and I know there's a website called
I'm a content creator.
ArtStation, which is like a hidden gem
Oh
for me,
yes, come here.
which I love, like just having a collection. Like I just go on there like every so often, find photos, add them to the collection, and then yeah, I think, and then you kind of get those references, you build it, and then you can go off that just like on your own. So like you could just have a singular house that you want to build, and then you could build terrain around that you've seen, like let's say like a 90-degree photo of, or like whatever, which is like what I like usually like to do, not just like complete reference of the whole map, but you know, kind of like do your own original thing.
Oh, absolutely. If anybody hasn't actually gone through Aces rooms, they're very cinematic. I do highly recommend walking through those beautiful stories.
Flattered.
Really well done. Absolutely. You should be flattered. All right. We're going to get into our next topic, which is layout and environmental storytelling. Now, we'll talk about cinematic. This definitely falls on Ace's plate. But we're going to start off on the first question here. How do you or your team start creating the layout of your experience? Like what is the process of laying out the experience, finalizing the layout? We're going to start with Laura.
So it depends on what kind of game that you wanted to make or room that you wanted to make. But we generally tend to think of the main points that are going to be in the room. For instance, when we made Dare to Sleep, we knew that we wanted a cinematic sort of entrance to start with in a seat, and then we knew roughly where we wanted to have the different tasks, and then we sort of made sure that they were spaced out nicely to give the player time to see all the artwork in the room, and then we sort of build up around that. Yeah.
Beautiful. So a lot of cinematic stuff. So guys, keep them know they're really looking at thinking about how they're laying out the story, their environment, walking that player through that story, moving that player through that story when they're designing their layout. So Peanut, go for it.
Yeah.
We love gray boxes.
Me too.
We use it, yeah, for Timber Hollow. We use it to define like our peak moments of elevation, terrain, how everything's laid out, where we wanted to put things. It's a great tool for communication between teams, because visual communication is always just a step above like auditory. Yeah. And then especially when we got into those more like quest and story based games where we needed to start laying out levels and puzzles, that was crucial. Because it's just such a huge task, you need to start dividing things more evenly. So we had like Pan Knight, for example. He would do our level design for Ruins of Stonefall, and he would gray box